Good evening, Ms. Agarwal. I hope I'm saying your name right. My name is Nasir, and here's my presentation of the different cell organelles and their functions for this week's video essay questions. So I'll get right into it. So I apologize if the quality is a little grainy. I tried to get my camera to work with me a little bit, but I did the best I could. So right here, where you see kind of like that layer going around the whole cell. That's the plasma slash cell membrane, and that's in charge of letting things in and out of the cell, making sure that no viruses or no bacteria get in. And moving on to the inside of the cell now, you see that I have the. I'll try my best to show it a little bit better. You see right here, I have the cell, not the cell. I'm sorry, the nucleus. That's the main part with the different chromatin in there. I'll get to that part later. And the nucleus's main function for the cell is that it keeps track of what all the other organelles are doing. Like it makes sure that the mitochondria is performing. It makes sure that the ribosomes are performing, and etc. And you get to the nucleolus, and its main job. The nucleolus' main job is RNA synthesis and ribosome biogenesis. And then next we'll move on to the mitochondria up in the top corner right here. And the mitochondria's main job is it breaks down sugar molecules and it turns that into energy for the cell to be able to operate. And then now we'll move on to the rough ER down here at the bottom. And the rough ER's main job is it produces proteins. That's why the ribosomes are also up here as well, because the ribosomes. We'll go ahead and get to the ribosomes next. They're the different X's around the diagram, and they essentially do the same thing. They also produce proteins. And move up here to the smooth ER, and what the smooth ER does is it synthesizes lipids, phospholipids, and steroids. So that's where it differentiates from the rough ER. And then moving on, we'll head on over to the Golgi apparatus. And what the Golgi apparatus does is it receives the proteins from the rough ER and the ribosomes, and then it repackages them, and then it redistributes them to wherever they need to go. That's the Golgi apparatus's job. And then next we'll move on to the lysosomes. And what lysosomes do is they break down food. And they break down food particles. They break down food particles and old cells, and it's kind of like essentially like the trash can or the recycling bin of the cell, if that makes sense. And the next one, and then finally, finally we have the peroxisomes. And what the peroxisomes do is they very much encourage metabolism. They're very responsible for the metabolism and breaking down the toxic materials that may get into the cell. And so, yeah, I'll give you one last look at my diagram. This beautiful diagram. It's just so artistic, isn't it? But yeah, that's everything right there. And as for what does it mean when by form follows function in biology? It means that the function of whatever part or structure it is that you're talking about will directly be influenced by its form or how it's made. A case in point is how a dog's paw will have similar bones to a human's hand, but they're both made for two completely different purposes. Where our appendages are made more so to pick things up, while dogs and their paws aren't really made for that. And another example is with kangaroos, how kangaroos naturally have very strong legs and very muscular legs because it's designed for them to be able to do their main form of transportation of hopping around from point A to point B. They don't usually walk like how we humans do. So yes, that's the two examples of how form follows function, and that's my diagram of the cell. And thank you for watching, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Have a good night.